All right. We are live. This hair is out of control. But we're back. Episode 29. We're gonna get this started. It's a little bit later. We're gonna get this knocked out so we can get it going. But a little bit different camera angle. My desk is a little bit full right now. But we will get it started. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Idols for Rivals podcast. This is episode number 29, almost to 30. Like I talked about last time, we've had quite a few episodes this year, and hopefully it will be only increased as soon as the new year comes around. And I can't believe it's already, December 9th. So we are flying through this year. As I've stated in many podcasts before, it feels like kind of been stuck. I've done a good bit of traveling, obviously with COVID restrictions, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But done a good bit of traveling, but it still doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel the same like with summer. Like I said, summer seems like it really didn't happen. But welcome back to the Idols Rivals podcast. Like I said, this episode number 29. My name is Jack at Jack Hummell with 2 M's, 2 L's on Instagram and YouTube. Those are the main two. And on this podcast as well. We're on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get your streaming service, we have it. And I say that for everyone watching on YouTube live, because if you didn't know, if this is your first episode, I record video live and upload it to my YouTube channel. So if you look up Jack Hummell, you hit subscribe, like, I'd really appreciate it. Really trying to grow the YouTube channel. I'm big into video. I've really learned that I like audio as well. That's why I've been doing so many of these podcasts, and more podcasts than actual videos, but that will soon surely change. But I do like audio. If you know me in real life, I never stop talking. So it is kind of something that I think I'm built for, built different, just never shut up and keep talking. And that's why you get a microphone and a camera and a free streaming service. And you just start talking about random stuff that nobody really cares about, or it doesn't really matter, and just you have fun with it, because that's what we're all about. But quick sports update: Alabama, as you all know, crushed LSU, and Devontae Smith for Heisman. I'm saying it right now. I said it last year. I'll say it again. I love Jalen Waddle with all my heart. I think Devontae Smith is just a better receiver. But I think they're both going to the Hall of Fame in the NFL, and that's on God. But yeah, so that's the quick sports update. We're back. We're ready. We're going at it. It's been a long week. I don't know about you guys, but putting that work in, putting that grind in, just sometimes you got to put your head down and grind. I worked last Saturday, so I've been working. It'll be 10, the last 11 out of 12 days. So I'm ready for this weekend. I'm ready for a break, ready to hang out with the boys and get out, have a little bit of fun, and then get back to the grind. But I've been listening to this audiobook recently called The Mailroom, and it's kind of about, it is about the mailroom in the late 60s, early 70s of Hollywood. And so they talk about how things were run with Katharine Hepburn, Audrey Hepburn, and how the executives and stuff, they'd go take people out to lunch, these celebrities and now they're all obviously huge, huge celebrities. Like I said, the Hepburns, and other famous actors, James Dean, things along that nature. And these guys were mailroom guys. They would babysit their kids. They would, what else would they do? They would drive their cars. They'd pick up their laundry, things along that nature. And they really talk about the grind. I think there's 3 authors. I'm listening to an audiobook, so it's a little confusing because they'll say a last name in kind of script form. So I don't know if you ever read a script, but it says last name or character name, and then they kind of do their lines. And so they're really talking about how the grinding and how opportunity comes at random times, and you got to be ready for it. And you got to be ready for the good decisions, the bad, and the kind of the gut feeling with decisions. And so they were talking about how in the moment, you got to know the right decision, but you never will know the right decision. So you just got to act. There's a great quote that I love. I can't remember what book it's from, but the best decision is the right decision. The second best decision is the wrong decision. And the worst decision is no decision. And so I think if you're ever struggling with a big decision in life, or turns to take, or which road you should go down, you never really know the right answer. You just got to go with what feels right at the time. And who knows? Gary Vee once said, he goes, who knows? You make the right decision, you choose a different path, and you think about all the opportunity you lost because you didn't choose that path. Who knows? You could have been in a car accident. You could have got cancer. You could have done whatever, but you don't know. You chose a different path. You did this, you did that. So you can never live in regret of, I went left instead of going right, and thinking about all the things that you didn't do. You got to focus on the path that you are going down, and that you accept. But really, the book talks about how they were grinders. They would run around. They wake up. They had no lives. They talked about sneaking into the Grammys and the Oscars, and how that was their whole life was just serving other people, trying to get to a talent agency and things along that nature, and work and manage professional creators. I guess they weren't really called creators, but talent. And the way that they would just grind and grind and grind. And hey, if you screw up here, it's like you're fired and you got to restart. And half these guys came out of the military, and there were wars going on and things like that. And so it just kind of put into perspective how different of a generation they were, because I think with now, especially with how at least my age group, my age bracket from like the 16 to I'd say like 30 or 28-year-olds, it's just such a different way of life. It's such a different, the grind is nonstop as it was back then, but it's a little bit different. It's not like you're going to pick up pizza for somebody or going to pick up lunch for an executive. There is that aspect of it, but you're always on. Like, you're always on with your friends. You're always on putting a show on with your clients, with whoever you work for, your employers. It's always on. You're always got a camera on you. You've always got a microphone in front of you. You've always got things going on, and you always have that feeling, that pressure of trying to perform, whether it be, like I said, whether it be in your friend group where you are, I don't know, trying to get an Instagram photo or trying to have a better time than everybody and show it on Snapchat and things along that nature. I know when Snapchat came out, everything, do it for the snap, was just something I used to live by. It would be whatever wild thing you could think of, or do it for the Vine, I think was also one that a lot of people did, but it was just like something you live by, just the craziest things you could do. You'd film at parties, you'd film doing wild stuff. We'd have bonfires and people would jump over the fires and things like that, go mudding and things along that nature. But it's just that constant pressure of, when these guys got off work, they went home and they went to their families and they had their friends and they talked and they went to dinner and things along that nature. But now it's like you're always on, you're always connected, you're always talking to people, which, don't get me wrong, is something that I think is awesome. And I'm blessed to be a part of a generation where we have this technology, because as a super connected person, I don't think I could survive on just going home after work's done and then sitting there and doing nothing. I don't think I could survive on not having those connections everywhere with my friends that live in Utah, my friends that live in Texas, my friends that live 5 hours away, things along that nature on the East Coast, anywhere, and being able to just talk to them in the drop of a hat. I think that is such a wonderful thing, but it comes with its balance of bad, as everything does. Everything's balanced. A lot of what we see now is people talk about just the horrible side of things or the absolute great side of things. But in reality, everything, there's always two sides to a coin. There's always a good and a bad with anything, with the connection we have between using cell phones or being on social media or using computers, anything like that. There's a good and a bad that comes with it. And so taking that with a grain of salt and using that to kind of evolve and get better is something I think that really, it's kind of downplayed because of people talk about, the anxiety, which there is. With the dopamine that we get from an Instagram like or things like that, there definitely is, but you can also leverage it into just great things. You can create all you want. You can connect with whoever you want in the world. You really think about it. I remember growing up where it was like you wondered, you saw these people on TV. I'll use an example like Robin Big. Robin Big was a show that I watched growing up from like middle school to, I forget how many, I think it was like 3 or 5 seasons. And then it was Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory. But you'd watch these shows and they would just be like, okay, as soon as the episode's over, you're like, you know nothing about them. Now it's like you see them hanging out with their kids on Twitter. You see them going to their favorite coffee shop. It feels like these people are real people. And I think that's something that's kind of taken for granted, is just remembering those times before we had social media. And they are used to kind of promote things and show your best life and things along that nature. And I think it's kind of taken a swing full circle of going from super flexing on Instagram and super flexing on Twitter or YouTube or Snapchat, and gone kind of back to casual, which I think is like I said, it's that ebbs and flows. It's that balance of, as soon as it goes full tilt one way, it'll come back the other way eventually. And so I think it's gotten more casual, which is good. And once again, I think it'll dip back down. It'll go back to super flexing eventually. Whatever platform comes next, if these stick around for a while, we just don't know. But we didn't realize that these people, at least I didn't realize these people had lives, or the NFL players. I was a big NFL fan growing up. You would see these NFL players and it's like, okay, well, you see them for 3 hours on Sunday Night Football or Sunday afternoon football. And then you're like, okay, I don't see them till next week. Now you get to see tweets from them. They could talk to you. They respond to people all the time. You see them on TikTok. You see what the locker room's like. I know Michael Pittman, I'm a Colts fan, which has been a rough life ever since 2007, since we won the Super Bowl. Actually 2009, whenever we went and got blown out by the Saints. And that's why I'll forever hate the Saints. But seeing these people's realities where it's like, okay, Michael Pittman, we drafted for, he's a wide receiver. He's a big guy on YouTube. If you watch YouTube videos, him and his now fiance are big YouTubers. So you get to see these people have lives. Like they vlog about driving their Jeep around and going to the park. Like these people have lives, but holding them such on a pedestal when they have that mystery of that allure of not having access to these things, it's kind of an interesting sensation of humanizing these people that kind of get put on a pedestal. Because if you see them through a camera lens, or you see them on your favorite TV show, or hey, they have 100 million viewers every Saturday when their show comes out, or they're keeping up with the Kardashians or whatever they are, it kind of humanizes them. And I think that can be used in such a powerful way. And the way I've been thinking about it is, okay, these people are real people. These people walk on the ground. They don't float above the ground. They're not flying around. These are real people. And that kind of humanizes them in a way that at least motivates me, realizing, hey, you can do this. Like these people have bad days. These people don't look good all the time. These people aren't always at 100%. They have bad days. They have good days. These are real people. They walk around, they go to the grocery store, things like that. And it's kind of opened my eyes. And I've never really thought about it until talking about it on this podcast right now. But it's that humanizing and allowing yourself to realize, hey, that these aren't untouchable people. These aren't anomalies. These are humans that you share the earth with. And we're all going to leave at some point, and no one's better than that so far, as far as we know. But we're all going to leave at some point. And the fact that you can see these people, like I said, go to the grocery store, or you see a Snapchat video of them just hanging out with their friends. It may be in a mansion in Malibu, but they're still hanging out with their friends. They talk about their struggles with relationships like everybody has. It kind of gives motivation to just get after the shit you want to do. Because like I said, they don't float above the ground. They got a heart. They got 2 arms, 2 legs, maybe even less than that. And they have the same struggles you do. They have problems with their family. They have problems with whatever it is, with their vices, things along that nature. And it, like I said, it's turned into motivation for me. It kind of started as like, okay, this is an interesting perspective of these celebrities and these people that are creating at the highest level and doing the things that you want to do, whether it be travel, whether it be, like I said, creating content, whether it be creating a brand, things along that nature. And it goes to show that anybody can really do it. And I think that using that as a motivation, like I said, the flip side, you hear a lot about the social media side of, hey, this is the bad things. It causes anxiety, it causes depression, dopamine overload. Those are valid points, but I also think we're very quick to judge as a society things along that nature. I think anxiety is a problem. I think depression is definitely a problem. And I think that we are a little too quick to throw titles on things. I think people don't realize that everybody gets sad, everybody gets anxious. It's about handling it properly. And like I said, these are not issues that I'm what's the best word for it? These are not issues that I'm denying. These are not issues that aren't real. Like I said, I totally respect it. I've had my own dealings in the past, but I think we also have to realize that identifying that most of us, no, that's a little too skate around it, that all of us have anxieties, all of us have worries, all of us have issues with not feeling themselves all the time. And some more than others. Obviously, we're all different. Some people are taller than other people. Some people are stronger than other people. It's just how it is. And some people struggle in different ways. But realizing that everyone has that struggle and everyone has that fear is kind of, I think, underplayed in the bigger channels of whether it be influence or content creation. Everybody has those struggles. Everybody gets worried about things. And once again, not downplaying the fact that some people are stronger than others. It's very true. But I think identifying that it's a normal thing is a very large step that needs to be taken. And I think it's kind of come around recently. I know with the Logic song, whenever he was talking about the suicide hotline and the awareness with that, I think that was a big step, and kind of people came out with, oh, I've had problems with this. Oh, I've thought about it. Oh, things like that. And it's just like, it's true. And that's great that people are comfortable enough to get that out there, because as soon as you realize that, hey, these are very normal things, this is just human nature. This is the human condition of worrying about things and stressing about things. And, oh, am I good enough? Oh, am I smart enough for this? Am I good enough for this job? Am I attractive enough for this person? Everybody has those worries. You deal with them in different ways. And as soon as you realize those are normal, it kind of takes the power out of them. And one of the books I was listening to, I think it was called The Confidence Gap. They talk about how dealing with fear specifically is realizing that, hey, these people that achieve at the highest level, they don't have any less fear than you do. It's just they know that it's normal and they allow it to happen. And the whole motif of being fearless and having no fear and feeling nothing is completely irrational. It's completely not true. It's the fact that they know how to handle it and they blast through it is what we really idolize. And it's kind of under the rug, so to speak, for lack of a better term, under the rug of, okay, I'm fearless. I don't feel fear at all. But instead, we actually, what we really think of these, whether it be a character, whether it be a superhero, anything like that, or whether it be someone we read about, they have as much fear as we, as the next person, as I do, as you do. But they realize that it's a normal thing, and they realize that action is the enemy of anxiety, and that you need to get after it. And as soon as you start moving, momentum is the most powerful force in the universe. As soon as you start moving, things will come and things will get easier, and you'll be able to adapt and keep going. And so I think with that comes a lot of things. Like I said, the whole social media anxiety, I think that loving yourself is a big thing that is also being talked about in many different ways. I think people can go about it the wrong way. Some people go about it the right way. Like I said, there's a balance of it, but truly loving yourself is kind of a wild concept to just talk about and think about. And I think that when it comes to that, you can say you do, but until you really kind of internalize it and toss it back and forth and really realize, okay, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, and getting real with yourself is when you really start to achieve it. And when you really start to go, okay, I'm in my own skin. This is the one body you got. As far as we know, this is medical technology has not gotten to the point, I don't think, unless it's happened recently, where you can just hop into another body and start over. Or you can hop into another body. You can alter your body. You can get a nose job. You can get muscle implants. You can get fat reduction, whatever. But this is the one body you got, the flesh vessel, as Joe Rogan would put it. But this is the one body you got, and just looking in the mirror and be like, damn, find out what you like about yourself. Find out what you don't. See if you can change it. There's some things you can't change. You can't change your height. You can't change. I guess you can change like your eye color. You can change your hair if you really want to. But my point is, there's some things you can't change, and there's a lot of things you can change. If you want to get in better shape, if you want to get stronger, if you want to just be healthier all around, if you want to be able to run further, you can do all those things. And it's realizing, hey, I love myself, but also I can improve. And coming to finding that balance. Once again, I think balance is kind of the theme of this podcast, finding the balance between, yes, I'm happy, but I know I can evolve, and that'll turn into more happiness, instead of, oh, I'm right here, but I'm not where I should be. So I'm going to beat myself up and not let myself start is something I think that people struggle with, is kind of looking down on yourself. Like, hey, why am I not there? Why am I not 50 pounds lighter? Why can I not run 2 miles further? Things along that nature. But knowing that you're good right now, but you can always get better, and having that excitement to get better, and turning that anxiety into excitement. One of the things in the book was that these professional athletes and these professional performers and these professionals in any of their craft that need to perform at a high level, they don't say they're worried, or they don't say they're fearful. They say I'm excited, or they say I'm revved up, or I'm in a flow state. And so it's just turning that, it's that perspective that we've talked about in a lot of podcasts, turning that perspective into something positive, into something, like you said, once you get comfortable with that feeling of fear, and knowing, hey, all 7 billion people on this planet feel fear in different ways for different reasons. Some people feel it in their chest, some people feel it in their gut, and different situations, it'll feel different for you too. But realizing that, hey, and turn that fear into like excitement, into giddiness, into ready, as opposed to, oh my God, I'm so fearful, and it locks me up and I don't know what to do. And it's easier said than done, because as soon as you get on that hook of fear, it's hard to get off. But you gotta take a second, take a step back, and then you can just run forward and go after it. And so realizing that in the moment is, like I said, very difficult and easier said than done. But as soon as you work it, it's like a muscle. As soon as you work on identifying the fear, realizing, hey, I accept that I'm afraid. I'm worried about this job interview. I'm worried about this MMA match that I've been training for. I'm worried about this test. As soon as you accept that fear, it immediately loses some of its power. It immediately goes from, oh my God, I can't do anything. I can't do anything. Okay, fear, I'm afraid. Straight up, I'm afraid. And then it goes from I'm afraid to, okay, what can I do now? Can I study more? Can I train harder? And then going into those next steps with a mindful approach, and realizing every word you read, being mindful about, okay, we're studying, this is the goal. And sometimes you come up short. That's just kind of what happens. Sometimes you go down the wrong path. Like we said earlier, talking about the two different paths where you go from, okay, well, what if I would have picked A instead of B, then this is regret of choice. But the regret is not making a choice and waiting too long and missing both exits. So it comes with that decision. But like I was saying, I kind of lost my train of thought. But yeah, just deciding and knowing that whatever decision you want to make, just figuring out, okay, I'm fearful. I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid to talk to this girl at the bar. I'm afraid of failing this test. And guess what? You're going to fail some tests. You're going to get shut down quite a bit. It's just the way of the road, as Ricky would say. But you got to realize that that's just one step closer to where you're supposed to go. The road to success is obviously not a straight path. It goes forwards, it goes backwards, you get lost. You lose sight of what you were going after. You might find something completely different while you're lost in those woods trying to figure things out. But the point is that you're moving, and that you're moving with intention. You're moving mindfully and getting after things you want. And there'll be a lot of people in your way. There's going to be a lot of people that talk shit about you. They might be your closest friends. They might be people that you've never heard of. But that's just kind of how it is, because a lot of people are afraid of going after their goals. So why would, when Bob goes after his goals, when I'm sitting here doing nothing, why would I want him to do that? Because what happens if he succeeds? What happens if he gets happy and achieves his dream and I didn't? What happens if that does? And guess what? I have the weight of him on my shoulders. And so it's that mindset that kills dreams from outside people. So that's why I try to encourage my friends. And every time, if you've known me growing up, anytime anybody tells me anything, I say, go for it, go do it. Oh, I want to be TikTok famous, go do it. Oh, I want to be a famous violin player, go do it. Because I'm not going to be the one to shoot down dreams. I'm not going to be the one that's gonna stop anyone from doing it. Even if I didn't know you. I mean, you can if you knew me growing up and we kind of had these conversations about getting real and about what people really wanted to do, 100, I bet whatever you want to bet on it, I told you go for it. I told you should do it, because I will not be that one. And it's just like, why would you ever shoot that down? Why? And I mean, I do get it. I went through a phase a lot for a while with insecurity, and everyone else's success kind of pissed me off. And because I wasn't doing anything, I wasn't where I wanted to be physically. I wasn't where I wanted to be in school. I was just with socially with girls. I wasn't anywhere where I wanted to be. So I was just that shit that was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I didn't talk to anybody, so it wasn't like I was shooting anybody's dreams down. But then I was like, why would that affect me at all? And so every time I talk to people, I'd be like, go for it. You want to be the best architect in the world? Go for it. You want to plant the best palm trees in the world? Go for it. Because I'm not going to be the one to shoot down. And also, what happens if they do make it and they go, hey, come to my I don't know what awards you get for being a famous violinist, but come to the award show, come hang out. You believed in me in third grade. You believed in me in 8th grade PE when I said I wanted to achieve it, and I did. Why would you not want a bunch of those on your team? Why would you not want that circle running around? And so I think it's laying the foundation for just having a winning culture around yourself, whether it be socially, whether it be family related. It's just having that winning side and that winning mentality and boosting people up and building the tallest building in town by not knocking other buildings down, but building the biggest building and letting other buildings build with you until you all achieve. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. It's to have the cul-de-sac, as me and my friends say. Have the cul-de-sac where you're all rolling up in your Lamborghinis and you're all just with your gorgeous wives or husbands or whoever, and you're just looking at each other like, we made it. We own the block. It's like, that's the goal. What's the point of being rich and being alone? For real. Like, think about that. What's the point of being rich and powerful and alone? Fuck that. I don't want that. I want people by my side. I want a unit. I want a team by my side. And so that's why I try to breed positivity in a lot of relationships. That's why I try to cut to the chase, whether it's we're talking like, what do you want to do? What gets you out of bed? What's that idea that you thought maybe one day I'll go achieve it? Why wait? Like, that's the real stuff. That's what I really care about. And that's what I like talking to people, because I find out what makes you tick. Some people are cool with a 9-to-5 job, hanging out and just being happy and drinking beer on weekends and hanging out watching football. And that's fantastic. Who am I to judge? Who am I to care if that's your life? That's awesome. Get it. Because when you're on your deathbed and you're pumped, that's the way you live. Who's going to give a shit if Bobby down the street or if your friend Kevin was like, oh, well, he's not really doing it. dude, you had a smile on your face for 90 years out of your life. You won. And it's just getting after that, and it's just doing that kind of stuff. But yeah, I try to help out with any motivation, with any talks to people. I like gassing people up. I love it. I love just seeing people succeed. It really gets me going. It really juices me up. And yeah, so if you guys you want to reach out to me and talk to me, I would love it. DM me on Instagram, on YouTube, comment anything, and just let me know what you think about all this stuff, about the hustle, about dealing with fear, anxiety, and kind of how you think it's portrayed throughout like the social media avenues, the influencer avenues, things like that. Just give me your opinion. Let me know. I appreciate it on comments, on DMs, anything. But I've been your host, Jack Hummell. That's at Jack Hummell on Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, everything. If you could give my YouTube a subscribe and go check out some of the videos. Some of the videos are really, really good, and I'm working on putting out a lot more. And give me a follow on Instagram. And I'd really appreciate it. And like I said, I'd love to talk to you guys. Keep going, attack everything, because you got one shot at this whole thing. And if you haven't, check out the YouTube videos, because we do an after dark, after hours session, and we talk a little bit. Sometimes it's long, sometimes it's short on the YouTube videos. But like I said, I've been your host, Jack, at Jack Hummell on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube and everything else. And like I said, if you could subscribe to the podcast or follow it on Spotify, I'd really appreciate it. You guys have a great week, and I will talk to you next week. Peace. Ooh, all right, fam. That kind of went off as it always does, as I want it to be. I always want it to be kind of a from the heart sort of situation. But yeah, like I said, the dealing with fear thing, I think if you haven't listened or read the book, The Confidence Gap, I really seriously recommend it, because it really has changed. And I think I'm actually going to keep it on repeat, because it has changed the way I think. I think the biggest thing was, and I repeated this. I remember we were out at the bar. I repeated this so many times in my head, whether it be trying to talk to people, things along that nature, trying to meet people, was confident action comes first, or the actions of confidence come first. The feeling of confidence comes second. And I think I'm going to talk about that on the next podcast, because that is now what I live by, and what I truly think is something that is incredible, because it's whenever you had that fear of acting, that perfect moment, I like to call it, where you're like, the moment's not perfect. Oh, I can't go talk to her. Oh, her friend's talking to her. Oh, maybe that's her boyfriend that she's talking to. Maybe this is, well, no, the music's a little loud. Maybe I'll go on a different song, things like that. It's always that. And that was always what gripped me, and got over it most of the time. But it's also those times where you're like, I should have done it. It's that regret of not going after it. It's a regret of not talking to that person, or meeting that, or talking to that professor to make a connection, or talking to an employer, or anything like that. It's that regret, missing the boat of, oh, maybe I'll wait till the moment's perfect. Maybe I'll wait till they're free. Maybe I'll wait till they go outside. Maybe I'll wait till everyone's not around us so we can have a private conversation. It's just that moment, that waiting, that's going to make you miss the opportunities. And I don't know. I think that is a big key, like I said, with going from that fear state to that excited state. Because if you think about it, they're very similar feelings. You're like being fearful and being excited. Emotionally, they're different, but physically they feel the same. When you're excited, you're like, yeah, let's get this. You got a little stomach butterflies, things like that. But when you're fearful, it's like, oh, everybody's looking at me. Everybody knows that I'm not good enough. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows that. And you think the spotlight's on you in a bad way. And so going from that to, oh, I can't wait to get after this. I can't wait to go study for that test. I can't wait to meet this person. I can't wait to go do whatever it is, skydiving, bungee jumping, film that video, whatever it is, take that photo. It's going from that fear, which it's same physically. Like I said, it's same physically. It's up here. It's going, okay, now I'm excited about it. I'm like, you know what? At least I have the option to try. At least I have the option to go for it. I'm not in a third world country in a hut, which would suck. And people live like that. And it's so sad that we share a planet with people that are in such horrible, dire situations. And we have the opportunity to do whatever we want. We have the opportunity, like I've said a million times, this setup, this distributing to the entire world was impossible 50 years ago. Was impossible. Yeah, you'd have some 3 channels on television, but I'm in my room right now with a camera and a lighting setup and a microphone, and I can distribute this to the entire world. And people can see this for as long as YouTube's a thing. People can see this. My grandkids can see this. My great-great-grandkids can see this. Everybody can see it. And that's just, it's so crazy. It's so almost magical how powerful that is, that we have the opportunity to do what we want to do. And it is crippling. And I think that plays a big part. Is it's a crippling thought, the amount of possibilities, the amount of doors that are open, but you just got to take it and just run with it and just get after it. And like I said, I've reached out to a couple people on Instagram, and people have reached out to me just talking about people that are just getting after it. And a lot of things, a lot of good things have come from those conversations. And I used to be afraid to reach out, but it's like, if I'm talking to you about positivity and things like that, it'd be hypocritical for me not to reach out for people and gas them up and get them excited and be like, yo, I see what you're doing, and keep getting after it. Because I know when people say that to me, it just gets me revved up and gets me knowing that I'm on the right track. But we will continue next week for episode 30. Like I always say, attack everything and get what's yours and just go for it. You got one shot, so take it. So you guys have a great week, and I will see you next week. Peace.